And we are live. NashvilleLou Live is back on the air. January 27th, 2026. I'm trying to get the microphone and the background music to set where I want them to, audio-wise, with an OBS studio. It's NashvilleLou Live. I'm your host, Lou Pickney. We're talking a lot about the NFL draft, talking about my latest mock draft, which just went online not long ago. I'll be reacting to several mock drafts that have gone up in the last 24 to 48 hours, including one that's particularly notable from Daniel Jeremiah of NFL.com. Move the Sticks on X. Give him a follow if you don't already, if the NFL draft is your thing, because he is on point. I've been doing this for 23 years. I'm following it much longer, but actually publishing mock drafts, not counting the one that got published but never really, I forgot it was online from 2002. But it wasn't a full mock draft, so I consider it non-canon. Anyway, so we've got that coming up. I'll go through my mock draft, go through the thinking. I've got Mansour Delane from LSU in the top 5, which somewhat plays into what Daniel Jeremiah wrote in his mock draft. I figured there was going to be somebody moving up out of those corners. We're going to talk about that coming up. Right now, let's talk about Twitchy Tides. We've got 4 players in. This is something for Twitch viewers. I'm live on Blaze. Blaze-a-thon is underway. This is my primary focus for this show is Blaze, but look, I got more than, or close to 5,000 followers on Twitch, which is small compared to some, but this is my largest streaming audience, so I've got an international audience. Not everybody's into the NFL, but everybody that's a regular here tends to be into Twitchy Tides because it's so much fun. You just type !play in chat on Twitch for that. Also, we've got ScurvyBot giving out Nash Cash. I've got to get things figured out with ScurvyBot and some of the brand new settings that have gone into place with Blaze. ScurvyBot is heavily used on Blaze. I wrote on X, I compared it to having something where it's a small part of the market, but your favorite brand, and you go to a new country you've never been to before, and you discover that your small brand is the dominant #1 in that new country. You can follow me on that. It's really cool because ScurvyBot's used by a lot of people over on Blaze, including me. All right, so that's what we have for viewers on Twitch. For viewers on Kick, hello. It's commercial-free viewing. There are people that like to lurk and listen, plus a sample. I've got embeds on DraftKing.com, although not every page. We'll get into that in a minute. So for viewers on, my name's in there, but you can disregard that as far as the giveaway of a Warsaken camo card. You need to have a wax wallet, and you can create one for free if you don't have it. It's real simple, you see. I'll type this over here. Boom, boom. There's the link for the wax wallet in Twitch, and then over on Blaze, we've got Vince and Tutan Crypto in there. Let's see the great wallet information. ScurvyBot. There's the link for friends here on. We got 12 viewers. People tuning in on Kick. I tell you, there are people that lurk and listen. I'm sure some are bots as well, and who knows what's real and what's not. That's going pretty strong. It's going strong with Blaze-a-thon. It's a new streaming platform. It's only been going for a few weeks, but they're doing things the right way. They're watching everybody and everything carefully, which is a good thing. I mean that as a high compliment. They're making sure when bad behavior happens, it gets sussed out. Which means less fraud, which means more revenue actually going to the creators. People like me. And all sorts of different people. Some super creative people that it reminds me in some ways of what I ran into working in the radio business, doing syndication, going back 23 years ago. About the time DraftKings got started. I was doing that down in Tampa. I loved it, but that was going to die no matter what happened to our show. Ended up at Sirius satellite radio, which was quite the fun experience. That was 20 years ago. At 1906 up there. Howard 100. The surreal, like just the collection of people. There's Keith Olbermann. There's Benji Bronk from Howard Stern Show. Oh, some fun memories. Anyway, so we're giving away a Warsaken camo card for viewers on Blaze. And so if you don't have a wax wallet, that's when we do have to have that for sure. Everybody that wants to play Twitchy Tides gets to, even if you're playing for fun. Like I said, just reset the clock when I go to the prize wheel, part of my scenes. Anyway, so that's what we have coming up here in this show. But the main focus is going to be talking NFL Draft. So the DraftKings 2026 NFL Mock Draft Database. I've owned DraftKings.com since July of 2003. It's a long time. It's funny because I've been going through the LLMs and seeing where I rank and trying to boost up, maximize my SEO. And it was such a huge thing for me when it was like I had to present a case. Because once the LLMs recognize your topical authority, they'll become the best PR team you've ever had. I'm talking all of them. ChatGPT, Perplexity. Grok, I'm not sure about because I don't interact with X that much with that element of it because I don't like having to be logged in because I want to see it like in an incognito browser with a VPN going so it doesn't think I'm not wanting it to show me what it thinks I want to see. I want to see what the average person would see so that I know if my efforts are working, and they have been. So that's been certainly encouraging on that front. And so with DraftKings.com, I've set up this database here. And look, they told me to do it this way with my name at the top and number one, King of the Independents, check mark, all that. And as much as I think it's silly and kind of borderline embarrassing, it's worked. So I can't complain about that. Jason Boris, his mock draft goes live on the first day of the draft that morning. He's very successful and, from what I've seen, incredibly humble. So I like to talk him up. That's part of the thing with owning the site. I have total, with DraftKings and with mockdraftnfl.com and all my sites for that matter, I have total control. I have advertisers and my audience to think of as well, but it's quite the thing. It's NashvilleLou Live. So again, we'll have Twitchy Tides coming up for viewers on Twitch, !play in chat. Also with Scurvy about giving out Nash Cash for viewers with linked wax wallets over on Twitch. I know we had a bunch of people. I saw a lot more than I expected right out of the gate like that. 34 users, each getting 5 Nash Cash. Look, it's mock draft season. Hello to everybody watching. I'm sure there are people watching down in Mobile, Alabama right now. Senior Bowl going on this week. Let's move back over here. I mean, it was cool to check out the fish tank and all. Viewers on Twitch, !play in chat. You're welcome, Swim Dodge Vince. Thank you for being here. I know the NFL, because I have such a diverse audience, very strong international audience, so this is not going to appeal to everybody. I understand that, so not going to hurt my feelings if you jump in, say hi, get in for Twitchy Tides. Make sure you get in over on Blaze. Blaze-a-thon's going on. They're doing all the right things so far. I'm going to be very demanding about certain things because working as a professional in the broadcasting business, I can't tolerate second-rate things that shouldn't be second-rate. And Blaze does things the right way. It's smooth. It's easy to use. It's not clunky. It's easy to sign up. It's easy to stream. You don't have to jump through all these hoops. They make it very easy to onboard. And then there's a whole system of voting and with the backstage pass, and that's a whole nother matter. You avoid that complication if you just come in there, say hello, because they want to have, for people like me that have reached affiliate status at Blaze. I'm an affiliate as well with Twitch, but Blaze, I just got it. And you have to maintain at least 50 unique chatters from the prior 30 days. And there are a couple other stipulations as well, but they make it very clear and very easy. Get some more water. Didn't do my proper check through. So I got a bottle of water over here by the broadcast location. Oh, it's almost empty. I tell you that, I'm just happy. Appreciating what you have with electricity. A lot of people in the Nashville area. My parents were without power for a time out at their place. I wanted to stream last night. I really wanted to have a reaction to Daniel Jeremiah's. Now, we'll have it coming up, to his mock draft on NFL.com. But the power kept cutting out every 15 minutes. It would come up back on between 5-10 seconds later. And I've got everything here on a battery backup. When it's certain times of the year in the Nashville area, just like when I lived in Tampa. Those afternoon thunderstorms in the spring. Better safe than sorry when it comes to electronics, though. So I figure, we'll save it for tonight, and here we are. It is interesting, isn't it, G, as far as you're saying being a Cal alum and Fernando Mendoza. We'll get into this mock draft here. I'll open this. I'll go through it just went up today, as in, it says it's UTC on the date. There. If I make this one full screen, then it fits better. It's NashvilleLou Live. We'll be talking NFL mock drafts. My new one just went up. And I'll explain, go through here on some of these. All right, double checking everything here. Mendoza, success story. He was really good at Cal. I believe he's the all-time passing percentage accuracy leader from his time at Cal, that university. And he goes to Indiana and has one of the best seasons in college football in recent memory. People compare it to Joe Burrow's championship season with LSU right before the pandemic, 2019. All right, let me see. I'm checking everything out, making sure the streams are going okay. All right, so I posted over on Blaze, and I did, so. Blaze.stream. That's the URL. Blaze.stream/NashvilleLou. See, my real name, Lou Pickney. Some people try to avoid having their real name. A lot of people use aliases in this world. Live streaming side. But look, I knew a long time ago when I went to sports broadcasting, can't use a gimmick name. And as it turns out, it's funny the way that you do something long enough and then it doesn't feel like it's been 23 years of this, but because it has been, with this topical authority. And so that mock draft database that I've set up with DraftKings, because it's been tough to know what to do with it. I had to move my mock draft to mockdraftnfl.com or somewhere that wasn't DraftKings because people just wouldn't link to me because they confused what I had with DraftKings, the gambling company, and people just didn't know how to handle it, so they would ignore me. Well, there's a reason I launched this site, and within a month, Sports Illustrated was linking to me. Every Nexstar television station, with only a couple exceptions in the entire United States, was linking to me. I've been fortunate. I've had some success. Anyway, so we'll talk about some of these mock drafts other people have coming up. But let me go through right now and talk about what I have here. I mean, it's fairly obvious. Fernando Mendoza, quarterback from Indiana. Just a fantastic season with the Indiana Hoosiers. I enjoy his interviews. He seems very earnest. Like he's not just working a Tim Tebow gimmick. He's not cosplaying as Tebow. Like he seems very genuine, sincere. So interesting. Mendoza going to Vegas. But I tell you, if he could bring success to the Raiders, if they need some stability at head coach, let's keep the head coach in there for more than just a year or two. Anyway, so a new head quarterback, and who knows for the Raiders. I know fans in Vegas are ready to get behind him. So Mendoza at 1, that's a given. If you see any mock drafts that don't have that, you're probably reading an old one. At number 2, New York Jets. Got them taking Ohio State linebacker Arvell Reese. He's just a remarkably unique talent in that he can play off-ball linebacker, or you can bring him up as an edge rusher, or you can drop him back into coverage like a defensive back. And it wasn't lost on me to see, with Seattle's victory over the LA Rams in the NFC Championship, Nick Imawari, safety that the Titans could have had, and they traded out in the second round. And look, I call it down the middle when it comes to mockdraftnfl.com and DraftKings and all that. But for me personally, as a fan, I'm a Nashville guy. Of course, I'm going to pull for the Titans. So anyway, I appreciated what the talent that Imawari had at South Carolina. Now he's going to the Super Bowl with the Seahawks. So props to Seattle and New England. Anyway. So going, though, talking the top of the charts, New York Jets, the other side of things at 2. Arvell Reese, look, the Jets didn't have a single interception last season. It seems unfathomable. You play 17 games in the NFL, and you have 0 interceptions. There's a 49ers team in the late 2010s that only had 2, I believe, in a 16-game season. Anyway, point is to the Jets. Well, yes, Dante Moore would have been very difficult to pass up here. They have to do some stuff with their defense. And look, they've made some trades. They traded Sauce Gardner. That's in part why it happened, although Sauce hadn't had any interceptions before they traded him. So they didn't even get that before they dealt him. They got picks in this year's draft and next year, so we'll see. You know, of course, it's easy to be down on a team that's been struggling, but you got somebody that's trying to rebuild things, and we'll see what they do with the Jets. I don't know, the quarterback situation, all that, so much up in the air. Where's Kyler Murray going? We'll get to that in just a second. Anyway, so I got Reese at 2 to the Jets. Some, and we'll get to some of the others as well, are thinking edge rusher here maybe. Didn't see one that had Ty Simpson here at 2. And who knows? 3. I mean, because these teams, this evaluation process is very real. They're just going through the motions on it. And the draft is nearly 3 months from now. So the Cardinals at 3, I've got them taking Spencer Fano, offensive tackle from Utah. And they'd be looking for a right offensive tackle. But they'll also be looking for a quarterback. They're just really at this spot, given what's going to be available in this draft. Which pick will people hate now but love in 3 years? That's a good question. I wonder how Giants fans are going to like number 5, Mansour Delane. I don't know. It's hard to say as far as who they would hate. I'll think about that as I go through this, and if one jumps out at me, go with it. Remember, this is not what I think should happen. None of this. This is me as an analyst. And while I watch with my eyes and I know these players and what they can do, the reason I found success, particularly the last several years, particularly since the pandemic, to switch things up because I had to, because we're in a pandemic, and by taking my evaluations out of it and just using more analytical side, it has worked out a lot better for me as far as being accurate, which is what people want. And the goal is all this. Just because I think somebody, just like number 4, David Bailey is a great edge rusher, Texas Tech, and I'm going to the Titans at 4. Now, I'm a huge fan of Reuben Bain Jr., edge rusher from Miami. Tenacious, got me on the field, 3-down edge rusher. But man, Bailey's really good too. Now, I've seen offensive tackle. We'll get to Daniel Jeremiah's mock, my reaction to that coming up. But wide receiver as well, a potential consideration here. I'm edge rusher. I mean, Jeffrey Simmons is so great as an interior defensive line pass rusher. If you can add an elite talent for the outside to the Titans defense, that alone would significantly boost things up for them. But there are a few options there at 4 and 5. Again, that might be one, Mansour Delane, because the thought is Delane might be more maybe top 16, top 15 kind of overall. So you're thinking, is that really commensurate with the talent of a top 5 pick? And that's a matter of opinion. Delane had such a great season at LSU this past year for what was otherwise a down year for the Tigers. I mean, Brian Kelly lost his job. Had a lot of money to go away, but still not the way that the fans in Baton Rouge wanted it to go. But Delane stood out. He transferred from Virginia Tech. I think what I'm going to do right here is just a second. I'm going to pop up the Twitchy Tides. 6 people in right now. For viewers on Twitch, and type !play, P-L-A-Y, to get in for Twitchy Tides. I'm not going to break or anything. I just got to get another bottle of water. Stand by, please. NashvilleLou live. All better. All right, so again, for viewers on Twitch, we've got I never did finish what I was typing over here. Mendoza. Tremendous accuracy. All right, so it's exclamation mark play for viewers on Twitch. And we've got to do the tip all nutted. Tip all 5. We've got 33 users, each getting 5 Nash Cash. Now, that's not legal tender, but you can use Nash Cash to dig from the ScurvyBot dig pool on Twitch every 15 minutes. We're going to get something set up. I mean, Blaze, I think Dan Asker's done a tremendous job. And speaking of which, we'll show over on Blaze. Got 2 people in right now. Got a linked Wax wallet. Type the word enter, E-N-T-E-R, in chat over on Blaze. Do that. Be sure to check it out. It's a new streaming platform. If nothing else, get over there and secure your name. It's free to sign up. It's easy. They make it simple. I'm a big fan. Blaze-a-thon's going on. All right, and there again. Didn't mean to click this one. Again, if your fish gets killed in there, don't worry. It'll respawn. Krabby Mike's going to take out... Well, I guess I'll misjudge Krabby Mike there. Anyway, the fish will respawn. It's practice in there right now. So it's exclamation mark play in chat for viewers on Twitch. And for viewers on Blaze, just type the word enter. See keyword enter, E-N-T-E-R up there. And so with that in mind, let's actually get more into it now with this mock draft. Now some water. get focused. So again, I've seen some that I think pretty highly of evaluators that are saying Delane Moore maybe 15, 16 range overall. But there looks to be demand. And I'll get to what Daniel Jeremiah wrote in his mock draft, which again, it was his first one to come out with, but comes a lot from intel that in his own scouting that a lot of times ends up being a very strong early indicator. So I don't think it's unreasonable to say Delane, because what he was saying, Delane could, if the Giants drafted him, he would right away be their best corner. That's pretty strong. You got to fill a need, even if that's not the value or whatever. Getting an elite corner, if that's what they believe with Delane. We'll see how it turns out for him with the evaluation process. At 6, Cleveland Browns, Francis Mauigoa. Some think the Browns might go with a receiver here, but they also have the number 24 pick. So if you think an offensive tackle and receiver, you're going to have more options getting a receiver down at 24 versus here at 6. This is one guy you really like to take there. And maybe, I mean, who knows? They could surprise me and maybe they take Mekhi Lemon there or something. I think down at 24, they're going to have options. And that's the evaluation process. It must be maddening for these teams to get this stuff figured out. Again, it's kind of broad brush strokes. I think we'll know a lot more after, like this time next week, even like just through the weekend, because a lot of scouts will exchange notes and talk, and there's all the conversation, the things that happen for people that go down to Mobile, evaluators, etc. And if you know the right people and who to trust, not like I get all that much as far as inside info goes. I don't know if I would trust if somebody's going to be inside info. All right, be sus. Anyway, let's get back to it. So now we go to the Browns at 6. Special thanks to Karl Casey at Whitebat Audio, who makes much of the great background music I use here on NashvilleLou Live. So going through me, Lou Pickney, my 2026 NFL mock draft, my latest. One effective January 28th. UTC. Got to, when it's midnight UTC, I think it's fair to, at that point, I can round up to the next day. Again, I got an international audience, and that includes my NFL stuff. Let's see. So Mauigoa to the Browns at 6 would fill a need for the Browns. I think they're going to give it a year with Shedeur Sanders, and if that didn't work, then we'll see what they can do in the 2027 draft at quarterback. And who knows? Sammy Sanders is going to be, interestingly, playing as an injury alternate in the Pro Bowl. Like, if you've gone back to this time last year and said, all right, Shedeur Sanders is going to be with the Cleveland Browns, and he's going to be playing in the Pro Bowl. If you said that, you'd probably think, okay, he's going number 2 overall, which was the thought for a while until it wasn't, and then he slid. Now, but again, this is just his rookie year with a Browns team that needs to add some weapons and needs to boost up its offensive line a bit, but if it could work out for him, what a story that would be. If it doesn't work for next year, then that 2027 draft should have a lot of quarterbacks in there from which to choose. It's NashvilleLou Live, going through my latest 2026 NFL mock draft. My LLM consultants, which have not steered me wrong yet, urge me to continue to make video content like this. All right. I'm going to live stream it. We'll get content that way. Then after the fact, put it up on YouTube. All right, so let's get through some of these here. With Bane to the Commanders, they need an edge rusher. I really like Bane. If the Titans got him at number 4, I'd be happy. So at 7, the Commanders should be happy if he's there. Just tenacious. He doesn't take a play off his motor, which is scouting Carney for doesn't go 75% speed when he's kind of feeling tired. 3-down player. He'd be great for the Commanders if he's there at 7. At 8, the Saints. I know there's been a lot of talk about Jeremiah Love, who I've got going in this mock to the Chiefs at 9. But I tell you, Carnell Tate is such a unique weapon in that he has that uncanny ability to get open within the span of 3 seconds, which in the modern NFL, you're trying to get that ball thrown as quickly as you can. He had 0 drops last season, so he's got tremendous hands. The Saints with Tyler Shuck in last year's draft. Shuck is a really interesting story. And he's older than your typical quarterback, but that's more and more becoming the case in a good way because these quarterbacks it's kind of like working the circuit, working the territories back in the pro wrestling 1970s era. Go work the Oregon territory. Promoter Sandy Barr. Number 9, Jeremiah Love to the Chiefs. If there's going to be a running back taken in the first round, if there's only one, it's going to be Love. There could be a second or a third, who knows? This process has to work itself out. But Love is just a tremendous talent. There's been talk, Kenyon Sadiq from Oregon at 9, but I felt enough pushback from people that know things. Okay, maybe not. Like Sadiq could be great for the Chiefs, but at 9, there's enough unique talents, options for him there that it might be, especially if Love doesn't go to the Saints. And I've been going through and reading Reddit for some of these individual NFL teams. I think, well, Lou, you can be listening to the diehards. Like, no. People that care passionately, like in the past when I get people that email me or tweet me or whatever, when somebody cares about their team and they know, they're going to know more about their specific team than I will in most cases. More often than not, those people that are very voracious about it, they tend to be right. So I listen. I don't take it for gospel, but I listen. Like last year, the 49ers, or their Reddit, somebody was just like being adamant, like they will not take a corner. And they didn't in the first round. Okay. It's the little things you keep track of that sometimes help out. Although you never know from a given draft one year to the next. Anyway, Love at 9 to the Chiefs. Number 10, Cincinnati Bengals. I went back and forth on this. I know the Bengals will likely have some need at pass rusher, although to what degree to be determined how things go in free agency and potential trades. Now, as I've talked about before, it's been 10 years since a pure safety, went in the top 10 of the NFL draft, but Downs is a unique talent. His ability to read react is just off the charts, and he's super athletic to go with it. It'd be a great pickup for the Bengals at 10. At 11, Miami Dolphins, Jermon McCoy. I think there's optimism that McCoy's going to be able to be healthy enough to have a strong workout and impress some people. He didn't play it all this past season. He suffered a torn ACL in one of his knees 1 year ago, January of last year. Dolphins need a corner. And if Delane isn't on the board, it's not just those two, and we'll get to them. Going to go McCoy at 12, Dallas. Remember, Dallas also with the number 20 pick. Sonny Styles, he's been a big-time riser. In a defense that also featured Arvell Reese, and we got 2 spots above Caleb Downs. Sonny Styles as an off-ball linebacker, like it says, what's written here, linebacker safety, because he started as a safety, got to move to linebacker. And these hybrid players, these defenses, they find a way to make them work. I think if Dallas wants to, and they need a linebacker. So, it makes sense to me for Dallas to go linebacker there, and then maybe edge rusher down at 20, which is actually the way I've got it. Spoilers. At 13, the Rams. This is the pick they got from Atlanta. Jordan Tyson. Some people think Tyson will go top 5, top 4 even, top 3. Maybe not 3, maybe not to Arizona, but who knows. But here he's on the board at 13 for the Rams. Be a nice pickup. Tremendous playmaker. When he's healthy, he's just a big-time difference maker. At 14, Peter Woods, defensive tackle from Clemson to the Ravens. I've sensed a bit of a fade on Woods. Now, this doesn't reflect that fade. I still think Woods would be a good fit for the Ravens, but something to keep in mind. I think if Woods is able to impress people, the pro day, works out the combine, and he should because he's just so quick for his size. 15, the Bucks, particularly if Sonny Styles in there. The Bucks do have linebacker needs, but get an edge rusher like Keldrick Falk, who could go top 10, top 12. But here he's on the board for the Bucks at 15. Went through my latest 2026 NFL mock draft here on NashvilleLou Live. I don't have the overlay up. This is what it looks like. Presented by Lou Pickney. Me. 16, the Jets. So I've got the Jets going Arvell Reese at 2, linebacker, and then going Avion Terrell, corner from Clemson at 16. As I noted, you'll hear about it a lot because it's just so unusual in a bad way. But the Jets didn't have a single interception last season. It's hard to fathom how that's even possible. They found a way. So with the Jets having 2 picks in the first round, maybe they go Ty Simpson here. I've heard that mentioned. But I think corner has to be at least considered. 17, Detroit Lions, Caden Proctor. Massive human being. Opinions of Proctor tend to vary quite a bit. It's just going to take one team to think because he's physically just very impressive. Huge, massive size. And when he's on, look out. Something, well, maybe he's good, but maybe more late first. So depending on the outlook, who knows if Proctor will actually be there, but if he is for the Lions at 17, I think they'd find a way to get the best out of Proctor. 18, Minnesota Vikings, Caden McDonald, defensive tackle, Ohio State. What was it, 9.5 tackles for loss this past season? And you can do that. That's something unique. That's going to get you first round attention. Minnesota has need at corner as well, but here I've got him going with McDonald at 18. 19, Carolina Panthers, Kenyon Sadiq. Looking at Sadiq and down on the board in some mocks like the one I had before, thinking he might go Kansas City at 9. And I was slow to make that move. Well, I'm not sure because I saw some other analysts were kind of thinking that one might. I mean, who knows? He could end up going there, but I think there's been a bit of a correction. Like, well, maybe not there as much, but Carolina at 19, another weapon there. Number 20, Dallas, Akeem Mesidor. I really like this pairing. Now, Mesidor is going to turn 25 years old before the draft. He'll be 25 in April. And that's unusually old for a lineman to go in the first round. You just don't see that typically, but between what happened with the pandemic, throwing off timing for a lot of people, and the way rules have changed the past few years, it's a different time. Mesidor, tremendous season with Miami. I mean, it really was impressive. It's fun with those as a neutral viewer watching Miami Hurricanes games because you had Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor out there. That is a tall order for an offensive line to keep those two at bay. But the Cowboys have considerable need at edge rusher. Of course, they traded Micah Parsons and the passing of Nealand. Anyway, so at edge rushers needed at 20, Mesidor, Cowboys. 21, Pittsburgh Steelers, Ty Simpson. You'll see this and hear this a lot. And it's interesting with Simpson, 23 years old, but in the negative where he has fewer than 20 career college starts, what's the mitigating factor being that he grew up in the business. His father, football coach at University of Tennessee Martin, up in Martin, Tennessee. So he's savvy to the business. He knows how this works. And he felt apparently his side heard from a lot of people he'd be a first-round pick. This is not a strong year for quarterbacks. And if you might have noticed over the past week or two, a lot of people have gotten fired in the NFL. It is so tough. It's just such a high-stress business. Even when you make the playoffs years and years in a row, if you're not making the Super Bowl, hit the bricks. Denver made the AFC Championship game, had to play with a backup quarterback. Offensive coordinator fired. Tough biz. So the point is, this is not on the we'll roll you out slowly kind of plan, which is, I think, for a prospect like Oregon quarterback Dante Moore, why many people believe it was the right move for him, especially with the money that Oregon has lined up for him through NIL deals. To get that extra year of seasoning before he hits the NFL. And number 22, Vega. Big fan of Vega. One of the best interior offensive line prospects in the draft. Vega Ione going to the Chargers at 22. At some point, I might have to fade that, depending on how evaluations go. And you can't get too attached to any one team and player matchup, particularly the further you get from the top of the draft board. Too many variables in play. At 23, I didn't think I'd come back to this again. I thought this would get switched out, but it didn't. Mekhi Lemon to the Eagles. I'm not going to, while I think Lemon will probably actually not be there, this maybe Philly has to trade up to get him. Now, this might be the year if you're going to trade up for a non-quarterback, supply and demand-wise. This might be the year if you're going to do that you might. And that's even if they work things out with A.J. Brown. And I think they'll try and find a way to make it work. Regardless, Lemon is a tremendous talent at receiver. Had a great season for the Trojans. I think you're starting to notice certain traits with these first-round receivers. Like Carnell Tate, short area quickness. Mekhi Lemon as well. When you're trying to get that ball fired right away, yes, a 40-yard dash time is crucial. If you're not extremely fast, then you're probably not in consideration as a receiver or corner in round one. That's just the reality of it. We got elite size, elite speed. Okay, let's talk. 24, Denzel Boston. Talk about size, 6'4", matchup problem. Really good receiver with Washington, the Huskies. And so this is with the idea that Cleveland takes an offensive tackle at 6 and then goes receiver at 24. We'll see. Those things seldom actually hold. But if you're trying to figure out multiple picks for a team, there are worse approaches to take. And again, this is still very much broad brushstrokes. Well, it's based on perceived team needs, and that's going to change a lot with a lot of these teams. Once free agency gets here, it's the reality of it. It's NashvilleLou Live. It's my latest 2026 NFL mock draft. We'll be having some live reaction to some mock drafts in the DraftKings 2026 NFL mock draft database. So Boston to the Browns at 24, at 25. Caleb Banks. Some are saying fade out of the first round, maybe. I don't know. It's going to depend on how healthy Banks is and his workouts. Because you'll notice there's a bit of a pattern with some of these guys, especially the linemen. The freakishness with their athleticism. And you pressure opposing quarterbacks as an interior defensive lineman. If you can do that in a successful way. That's going to get you a lot of looks. With the Bears, it's tough to get a read on them right now. 26, the Bills. Got them still with Casey Concepcion, receiver out of Texas A&M. Talking about having a tough time fading a receiver or player from a given team. I really like the pairing of Louisville receiver Chris Bell with the Bills, but unfortunately Bell suffered a torn ACL in Louisville's bowl game last month. And there's some people that still think Bell will be a first-round pick. But here I've got him going with Concepcion. 27, San Francisco 49ers, Monroe Freeling, offensive lineman out of Georgia. Go up the trenches. 28, talking about showing up the trenches. Houston Texans with Emmanuel Pregnon. Offensive guard, Oregon. '29, the Rams to be their second pick. I got them going corner. Chris Johnson. Now, there are a lot of different opinions with corners. You'll have them, of course, but particularly in this range, there are a lot that seem like viable possibilities. You'll probably see some safeties starting to work their way in. We'll get to Daniel Jeremiah's mock in a second here because he does a lot of that as well. In particular, I should say. Anyways, here I've got Chris Johnson, talented corner from San Diego State to the Rams at 29. So if the Rams are able to get a top receiver with the pick they got from Atlanta, come back here, get a corner late round one. At 30, Denver Broncos, C.J. Allen. Linebacker from Georgia would fill a big need for the Broncos. It's a good value pick. There should be several linebackers in the mix here. Maybe not, probably not Sonny Styles. Anthony Hill Jr. from Texas, maybe. But the Broncos still have some choices if they want to go linebacker. They're at 30, at 31, the Patriots. Now, again, this is going to what Tankathon has listed. If the Patriots win the Super Bowl, then Seattle's at 31, Patriots at 32. So keep that in mind. But we'll just stick with this for here. T.J. Parker, edge from Clemson. The Patriots going with that at 31. And then at 32, Brandon Cisse, corner from South Carolina. Some people think Cisse is more like mid-first round, and it could be. But Seattle going corner there at 32. So that's my latest mock draft on mockdraftnfl.com. It's NashvilleLou Live. All right, Pop. You see why I don't have it doubled up like that normally. We'll close out of that. Bright light. So again, this is DraftKings 2026 NFL Mock Draft Database. Been interesting. It's been a lot of people, some that have read me in the past and some that haven't, that have been checking out that database. Especially now that more mock drafts are coming out and going with some of the best, most reputable sources. We've got 11 players in for Twitchy Tides for viewers on Twitch. You can get in !play in chat. We got a couple of these games in for it's said and done here with this broadcast. I wasn't sure what you never know, but people love Twitchy Tides. And again, you don't even have to have a wax wallet. If you're just watching, you're just listening to me talk NFL draft over on Twitch. !play. It'll assign you a fish that you can cheer for. Everybody that wants to play gets to with Twitchy Tides. It's part of the fun. And if you're watching on Blaze, remember that we've got the Warsaken camo card. We're giving away one of those to somebody with a linked wax wallet over on Blaze. Blaze.stream/NashvilleLou. It's the URL. It's very easy. Big fan of that Blaze platform. The new platform. Very content creator friendly. Great people as well in their Discord and the Blaze community. All right, so again, UTC last updated January 28th, although it's a little more than an hour till midnight Eastern. Again, once it's UTC, the next day, I feel I'm okay with that. And somebody realizes a problem with it, they can deal. See right there, it says, tonight, and we've got that UT, making sure that they can know. I probably should have written down the other places as well, like the main DraftKings page. But anyway, that's what we got here. It's NashvilleLou Live. So I'll post this in here. So if you want to check out these mocks for yourself, and I encourage you to do that. This is my reaction to them. I encourage everybody to, if you find this to be of interest, if you like mock drafts, I have a lot of different audiences, different interests. Everybody likes Twitchy Tides. I love the artwork in Twitchy Tides. The reason I've got the fish that I have, Lulu, is the name of the fish. I didn't name it. I was okay. It's my unofficial mascot. It's giving you the side eye. It's got purple, so it matches my brand color. Repping Father Ryan High School in Nashville and the University of Evansville in Evansville, Indiana. Both the purple's a primary color. It was impressive and almost frightening that I was going through one of those LLMs trying to see what it was saying about me as an NFL mock draft analyst. And it mentioned that my use of purple because of Father Ryan, because of Evansville. I was like, man, they're able to go through these broadcasts some of these LLMs and other chatbots and whether I post it as elsewhere or not, they're getting the transcripts or they're figuring it out. And that's just where we are now. Anyway, so 12 players are in. For viewers on Twitch, you can get in with !play in chat. Viewers on Blaze, type the word enter. It's a keyword, enter, E-N-T-E-R. I'll be at the end of the broadcast for Blaze. All right. We went through my mock draft. Just freshly updated. Mansour Delane at number 5 to the Giants. Probably the most notable as far as adjustments that I made. And then Jason Bourse again. I would have felt silly just having my own name up there. Even though that's what the consultants told me. You got to do it that way. All right. I'll put Jason's there as well. And there are plenty of other people that are great at this. It's not like it's all about me. Lou Scattaglia with NFL Spin Zone. Let's go to what he has here. So Lou's got to stick together. It's NashvilleLou Live. I'm Lou Pickney. Going through Lou Scattaglia's latest mock NFL Spin Zone. Again, these are all linked directly. DraftKing.com. There's a link to this page from the front. I'm hyping up Blaze-a-thon, the stream we got right now going on here. Blaze.stream/NashvilleLou. Right in front of you. Anyway, to check out a different Lou Scattaglia with NFL Spin Zone. A lot of images of Fernando Mendoza. And here we got, of course, different quarterback, Ty Simpson. There was a different one that had a big Mendoza picture we'll get to. That's what I get for not looking directly at the screen. Sir, that's Ty Simpson. Are you qualified to do this? So let's so Mendoza at 1 to the Raiders. You figure Reese to the Jets at 2. I think that's it's speculative at this point. But Reese is an elite talent. Downs to the Cards at 3. It's possible. I mean, Downs is a special player. There's not been a safety taken in the top 5 of the NFL draft in 16 years. Eric Berry, at number 5 overall with Kansas City, was the last. And I'm not even sure when the last time a top 3. So it'd be interesting if it happened. Downs, if it's going to happen in like now or the next couple of years, he'd be the one for it to happen with. It's so tough, though, because the demand for quarterbacks, demand for edge rushers, demand for offensive linemen, etc. at the elite level kind of pushes those players, even like people are unique at the position like Downs, where the game has changed, tilting more and more in favor of passing attacks. So I'm reacting to NFL Spin Zone and Lou Scattaglia, his latest mock draft earlier today. Jeremiah Love to the Titans at 4 would be really interesting. The Titans have a lot of needs. Love would be helpful to have there. So that would be interesting. Jordan Tyson to the Giants at 5, and then Carnell Tate to the Browns at 6. You'll see with the Browns a lot of either receiver or offensive tackle, although we'll see with Daniel Jeremiah's here in a moment. Not exclusively so with that. Here's another one at 7 with Reuben Bain Jr. to the Commanders. I believe that's a distinct possibility. David Bailey, if he's there at 8, could happen for the Saints. Let's see, with this one I got to bump ahead up here. Keldrick Falk to the Chiefs at 9. The Chiefs haven't had a top 10 pick in a while, so it's an interesting spot for them. Falk's one of the best as far as the edge rushers go. Peter Woods to the Bengals at 10. This is Lou Scattaglia, NFL Spin Zone. His mock draft, and me, Lou Pickney, reacting to it on NashvilleLou Live. So Peter Woods to the Bengals at 10. This was interesting. Ty Simpson to the Dolphins. Dolphins stuck with that terrible contract with Tua Tagovailoa. But the GM that signed that deal is not there anymore. The new GM's got to try and find a way to fix things. So that's going to be a tough one. Simpson at 11 to the Miami Dolphins here. At 12, Dallas Cowboys, Sonny Styles. That's just what I have. Based We'll see. Some think Styles will go top 10. Spencer Fano to the Rams at 13. See, there's opinions vary quite a bit as far as these offensive tackles. Not just pecking order, even top 10 overall. And here, Mekhi Lemon to the Ravens at 14. Again, I don't know if Lemon will be there at 23 for the Eagles like I thought might happen. Maybe the Ravens possibly there with Lemon. Caden McDonald, Bucks. And those tackles for loss, definitely noted. Jermon McCoy, corner from Tennessee. If he's there on the board and he's healthy, at 16, the Jets, they've got to get some interceptions. They got to make that happen. So I'm reacting to Lou Scataglia's mock draft from NFL Spin Zone here on NashvilleLou Live. All right, Detroit Lions, Mansour Delane. I've got him going top 5. This might be a more realistic range, according to some opinions. As far as overall prospects, how you want to rank them on a big board. If he's there, the Lions be very helpful for them. Vikings, Kenyon Sadiq at 18. In this range might be more realistic than top 10 for Sadiq, at least the way it looks now. The Panthers at 19. This would be something, again, talking about the perceived pecking order with offensive tackles. Now, I think that's coalesced at this point, still early in the process in many ways. Francis Mauigoa, really good player from Miami. Panthers, edge rushers, consideration, a lot of things they can consider there, but if Mauigoa is on the board, that might be best player available. All right, we're taking this guy. At 20, Avion Terrell, corner from Clemson to the Cowboys. Cowboys going with a corner here. I can see it. Vega to the Steelers at 21. That's interesting. You'll see a lot of either Ty Simpson or wide receiver to the Steelers. Vega possibility. If he's not there for the Chargers, Caden Proctor. Looking at Lou Scataglia's mock draft on NFL Spin Zone. My reaction to it here on NashvilleLou Live. Caleb Lomu, Eagles at 23. Lomu's a young player. A long-term potential. Brandon Cisse. Cisse's gonna really impress people with his workouts. The physical freak type. It's gonna wow people. But he's there at 24, and he could very well be. Maybe that's what Cleveland would do. So, all right, we'll go with either a tackle or a receiver at 6, and here at corner at 24. This is Lou Scataglia's mock draft on NFL Spin Zone. My reaction to it. Get to that Twitchy Tides game coming up here. Just a little bit. 25, the Bears. C.J. Allen, linebacker, Georgia. As I've said, I have a tough time getting a read on the Bears right now. I get some intel. I forget what's going on there. They got a lot of options. At 25, who knows? It's going to be again, broad brushstrokes at this point. But Allen certainly looks like a first-round prospect. Really good off-ball linebacker out of Georgia. Buffalo Bills, if he's there. Denzel Boston. Washington Huskies receiver. I like the fit. Caleb Banks. You'll hear me talk about a lot of the same players. There's a lot of in that consideration here. If he can stay healthy, he can be huge for the 49ers. Big if, but if he can, he's got the potential. Emmanuel Pregnon, along my line of thinking as far as the Texans go. Guard at 28. Casey Concepcion, so again, thinking similar to me as far as the Rams. Kenny receiver in the first round, but here going Concepcion at 29. At 30, I mentioned Anthony Hill Jr. earlier. This has the Broncos taking Jr. at 30, or Hill Jr. at 30, and then 31, TJ Parker. Makes sense. And then Cassius Howell. A lot of edge rushers in consideration. So Parker to the Patriots, Cassius Howell to Texas A&M. All right, I need a second to rest my voice. Up next, taking a look at Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft 1.0 of my live reaction to that coming up in just a little bit. All right, so let's take a look at some more mock drafts here. This is the DraftKings. I can scroll up and show you. DraftKings 2026 NFL mock draft database. The consultants told me to put myself at number 1 and do all like this. And okay, I acquiesced, and it's worked. It's worked really well. tell you, once you get that topical authority, the LLMs will defend you. I'll test it too. If Pickney's really so good, why is such and such? I mean, they back me up. But until I got that topical authority, it was almost backward. Like, well, who's Pickney? Do you mean Pinkney? Definitely some topical authority for Daniel Jeremiah of NFL.com. Move the sticks on X. And this is one of the early noteworthy things to happen in this process. This yearly process of the NFL draft. The last few years, Daniel Jeremiah's first mock. A lot of times this is based on intel, as I understand it, that he's hearing from the league. It's not what he thinks should happen necessarily, but it's a different outlook than a lot of different people have, and it helps in some ways to do some perhaps course correcting or other, just an opinion to keep in mind, if nothing else. A lot of this is going to change. Team needs are going to change, but it's how it's looking right now. Let's take a look at it. And I encourage you to actually go to DraftKings.com, look at these mock drafts for yourself, and links right to them. Make it as easy as possible. Number 1, Fernando Mendoza. It's going to be a shock if you see something that's not a gimmick, a serious mock draft that doesn't have Mendoza at 1. At 2, another vote for Arvell Reese to the Jets. And it's interesting that Daniel Jeremiah, this will be reacting to his mock draft, that he's got Reese as an edge rusher, because that truly is the trait that he has that's going to get him to be taken at number 2 overall if it happens. I mean, it's great that he can play off-ball linebacker. It's great that you can drop into coverage. They're looking for elite pass rushers. The way the game has changed. But Reese can also do so many other things as well. So it's interesting. The Jets, they've got to boost that defense up, and so they got some picks to perhaps work on that here. At 3, Spencer Fano. That matches what I have for the first 3. Fano to the Cardinals at 3. Not everybody's that high on Fano, but a lot of the evaluators that I trust seem to be at this point. Again, this process has to be undergone, and ultimately, it'll likely be just the opinion of Arizona. If they do go offensive tackle, who do you think's the best fit for him, particularly play right tackle? I mean, Fano could play on their side, but that would work for the Cardinals in theory. That matches what I have. This is Daniel Jeremiah's first mock draft of the season, NFL.com. My reaction to it here on NashvilleLou Live. So at 4, I found this interesting that Daniel Jeremiah projects Francis Mauigoa. So he's got Fano going to the Cardinals at 3, and then at 4, Mauigoa going to the Titans. I don't see that being the way it'll go. Who knows? Just given the Titans needs an edge rush or wide receiver. Yes, you want to make sure that Cam is protected at quarterback, but so the fact that, I mean, everybody knows this, and it means something. It's not just Daniel throwing that out there just to be contrarian. It's worth keeping an eye on. It could happen. At 5, and again, this is where I felt strongly enough that, okay, I'm going to move Mansour Delane up to number 5 to the Giants. This point he made right here. I think this is a salient point right here. Mansour Delane would immediately be, for the New York Giants, their most talented cornerback. If the Giants believe that the way that Daniel Jeremiah does, then, I mean, it makes sense. There's a lot of demand for corner. There weren't that many elite corners to go in the first round last year. I mean, guys like Will Johnson had a great season with Arizona, but he went in round 2. And with what I do, I'm trying to figure out who's going in round 1. At number 6, David Bailey to the Browns. It's interesting. In some ways, you flip Mauigoa and Bailey, and we're thinking alike on the 6, if you want to flip those two. This would go best player available. I mean, you got, one of the best, even right now, despite the years that the wear and tear of the NFL, but Myles Garrett is still one of the very best edge rushers. What a season he had, huh? It's tremendous. Anyway, so if you had Garrett and David Bailey, that would be quite the combo. I think the Browns have other needs, but that's what Daniel thinks here. Just looking at the mock draft, my reaction to it, to Daniel Jeremiah's new mock draft on NFL.com. And I urge you to go over to DraftKing.com. The first link at the top there, 2020. Look up DraftKings 2026 NFL mock draft database. I'll say DraftKings Pickney, that's me. NashvilleLou. My list, they told me, the consultants told me to put me on once, all right. Anyway, so we're talking about Daniel Jeremiah's mock. Well, some of these others as well I'll be reacting to. Sonny Styles. I told you people were really high on Sonny Styles. Some are. This is really high. He's number 7 overall to the Commanders. But Styles is unique because he's kind of like a linebacker safety hybrid. What a loaded defense that Ohio State had, huh? So Styles to Washington. Number 8, Daniel's got Jeremiah Love to the Saints, which is interesting. I had that until my most recent update. He would certainly add a new wrinkle to the Saints. He's just such a tremendous, steady talent. A high performer that was in the 2024 season. We had all those 100-yard games in a row or games with a touchdown scored. Dude, he's consistent. So if you're going to have a running back go top 10, it's going to be Love. Could it be to the Saints? That's what Daniel Jeremiah thinks in his new mock draft. At 9, Kansas City Chiefs. Reuben Bain Jr., if he's there. That'd be a great pickup for the Chiefs. I'm a big fan of just the effort he gives. He's a fun player to watch as a neutral fan because he's got to give you that full effort. And the way that Daniel responded or described it, that junkyard dog mentality. I think it's a tremendous way to call it. At 10, Cincinnati Bengals. Jermod McCoy. Reading on Reddit. There's some Bengals fans that had some dissent over this. But again, a lot of this tends to be, at least from what I've understood it to be, from Daniel Jeremiah. Stuff that he's hearing intel-wise from the league. Perceptions are, I'm sure some teams are not going to be all that forthcoming with their own plans. But they may have speculation. That speculation is often grounded in reality. Number 11. So this would represent Caleb Downs not going in the top 10. And as great of a player as Caleb Downs is, there's a reason. There's been some great safeties to come through, but to have one going in the top 10, it hasn't happened in 10 years. I mean, 11 is close, but it's not top 10. It would be interesting to see the Dolphins. I mean, if they're thinking that McCoy would be there and he's not there, if Delane's gone as well up at 5, well, the corners are gone. Caleb Downs, perhaps. At 12, Dallas. This has never happened before. It's unprecedented to have 4 defensive backs go in the top 12 of the NFL draft. There were 3 in 1989, but there's never been 4. So that's what this would represent. With Mansour Delane going at 5, and then Jermod McCoy at 10, Caleb Downs at 11, Colton Hood. So 2 corners out of Tennessee. And Hood had to really step up this past season for the Vols with McCoy hurt. Imagine if those two both could have been healthy. Didn't work out that way, but here, Hood goes to the Cowboys at 12, and they fill their need at corner, which is interesting. It's higher than a lot have had with Hood. This is my reaction to Daniel Jeremiah. His mock draft 1.0 from Daniel Jeremiah on NFL.com. Number 13, LA Rams, Mekhi Lemon. See, there's another mock that has Lemon gone before Philly at 23. More and more, I'm thinking that's a possibility. It's interesting that Carnell Tate wouldn't go here and Lemon would. I think the thing with Carnell Tate is that he's not expected to have one of those just blistering 40-yard dash times. And that tends to win a lot of people's thought process over when it comes to the whole evaluation thing. But again, Tate is unique in his ability to get open. Great hands. Lemon had a great season with the Trojans. A good size, explosive. Be a great addition to the Rams. This has Vega going to the Ravens at 14. As much as I like Vega, it's a potential match with the Chargers. It might not happen if he's not there. It won't. This has Ravens at 14. 15, Tampa Bay Bucks, Cassius Howe. I've seen some varied opinions on Howe. There are several edge rushers to be considered. Possible first rounders. And Howe's going to be in the mix for that consideration. At 16, Daniel Jeremiah has Carnell Tate. Wouldn't that work out for the Jets? Be able to get him at 16. That represents the Jets getting Arvell Reese at 2, and then be able to get Carnell Tate at 16. Now, that means the Jets not taking a corner for a team that didn't have a single interception last season, but they've got other picks besides the 2 they have in the first round. And Tate, and he's going to get open. 17. This is Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft 1.0. My reaction to it. Lou Pickney, NashvilleLou Live. When worlds collide, my live streaming, my real life sportscasting and mock drafts, all coming together. Akeem Mesidor, the Lions. You know, that could happen. I haven't really thought about Mesidor to the Lions. They've just been snake bitten the last 2 seasons with injuries on defense. I think the Lions, they've got a window right now to, they can make a serious run this upcoming season. With Mesidor, he'll be 25 years old. He'll turn 25 in early April. But he should be able to step in right away wherever he ends up. Mesidor, 17 to the Lions. At 18, now this is interesting. Emmanuel McNeil Warren out of Toledo. Daniel Jeremiah has, I think, 3 in total as far as safeties in the first round. Caleb Downs, that's one everybody's going to have. If you don't have Caleb Downs in your first round, then you might want to reevaluate. And as Daniel notes here that he's higher on McNeil Warren than others around the league, but some of that in it as well. Daniel notes that this could be contingent on what happens with Harrison Smith, which he says soon to be 37. So it would make sense if that happens with Smith, if he does retire. You'll see that sometimes. Those safeties that you don't hear that much about as potential first rounders, you see them kind of just here and there, and then boom, they have a big rise at a certain point. All right, that's what this whole evaluation process is about. Now this is interesting. Jordan Tyson, I forgot about this part. Jordan Tyson to the Panthers at 19. A lot of people are very high on Carnell Tate, on Jordan Tyson, talented receivers. But here, I mean, that for the Panthers, they got Tyson here. W Panthers. If he's healthy, Tyson is a tremendous playmaker. Number 20, the Cowboys. Keldrick Falk. That would be great for the Cowboys if he's there. If they can't get Mesidor, that's the one I have a really tough time getting off of the matchup from. I mean, if Mesidor goes higher, then okay, but if he's there at 20. But again, Falk is also a very talented edge rusher. There's a lot of talent at that position that's being considered in this range, and different opinions for different teams as you're going to have. How it goes. NashvilleLou Live. Here's Pittsburgh going receiver. You hear a lot of that. If they're not going quarterback, then receiver is a popular one. Denzel Boston, 6'4". These names are showing up over and over for a reason. They're the very best of their position as far as draft prospects go. Reacting here live on stream. The Blaze-a-thon continues. Blaze.stream/NashvilleLou. If you're not already following me on there, if you don't have a Blaze account, it's brand new. Get in now. It's free to set it up. Secure your name if nothing else. And I think you'll be glad you did. It's easy to sign up. Again, it's free. Also live on Kick. It's noted to get a lot of sampling from viewers on Kick because of the embeds I have with mockdraftnfl.com and DraftKing.com. So here reacting to the first mock draft of this cycle from NFL.com's Daniel Jeremiah. He's highly respected. One of the very best. NFL.com, the league's not going to put somebody out there that's just going to halfway do something. He's legit. He's got great sources. So it makes it interesting to compare what he has with what some might call groupthink. Call it what you will. But it's a valued opinion that will definitely It affected mine. Okay, I'll put Mansour Delane up there at number 5. Okay. Anyway, so Denzel Boston to Pittsburgh at 21. Seems like a viable possibility. Good young receiver in there for the Steelers at 22. Now this is interesting. LA Chargers, Lee Hunter. I've seen Lee Hunter's name on some mock drafts. Consideration with defensive tackle. Some guys maybe higher on Lee Hunter than maybe, say, Caleb Banks from Florida. So here Hunter goes to the Chargers at 22. 23, Daniel has Avion Terrell. He's still on the board here. That would be interesting. 24, here, Caden Proctor. And this, when you see some that say Proctor maybe top 10, and then you see some that are more like this range right here. Like, okay, yes, he's huge. He's uniquely gifted. But this is more the range where he'd be expected to go as far as just the way the projection process goes. I mean, if the Browns like Proctor, that's where it gets interesting. If they really like Proctor and they go with maybe a receiver or a corner, whatever, at 6. But if he's not there, who's going to be on the board at offensive tackle? And that's where there's a lot of different tackles being considered in that late first round range. So who knows? But the Browns with 2 picks. Here they got Proctor and Daniel Jeremiah's first 2026 NFL mock draft. It's my live reaction to it here. NashvilleLou Live. I'm Lou Pickney. I'm doing in the NFL mock draft biz since 2003 with DraftKing.com. My mock draft now resides on mockdraftnfl.com. People will link to me when I'm Lou Pickney of mockdraftnfl.com. If I'm Lou Pickney of DraftKing, that abruptly about 2018, it already slowed before then. But they confused me with a gambling company. Thus, my mocks at mockdraftnfl.com, but my own topical authority plus the side authority with DraftKing.com. Got this mock draft database. So these mocks that I go through here, went through Lou Scataglia's mock latest with NFL Spin Zone. We have more of these coming up here and the rest of Daniel Jeremiah's. So I encourage everybody to go through, and I'll pick out like 3 names from each one. I could have picked out a lot more from Daniel's, but just for the sake of consistency, have them noteworthy. Like, okay, he's got Malagoa to the Titans, which I haven't seen much of. Tate at 16 is kind of low, and then we'll get to the spoilers. I can show you it's right here on screen with Dieneman. One of the few guys from Oregon that had remaining college eligibility that went pro, which makes me think that he got some pretty good consideration that, okay, if maybe he didn't get a first round grade, I don't know. Some guys will let it be known what they have, and some, I haven't seen anything on him one way or the other. Anyway, but if he doesn't go in day 1, he'll go day 2. He's a really good talent at safety. And so the Bears, I feel like I don't have a good grasp at all what the Bears are going to do. For a team that had very exciting games this season and that heartbreaking loss to the Rams in overtime, still feel like there's several needs they have, but where are they going to go? To be determined. 26, Buffalo Bills. Daniel's got C.J. Allen. They'll be hearing his name a lot in this late first round range. If he's still on the board at that point. Again, off-ball linebacker tends to not be the primary focus, but there are some talented linebackers in this group. Enough to get viable consideration here in the late first round. At 27, Daniel Jeremiah has Kenyon Sadiq, the 49ers. So he's got Sadiq, that tight end, who looks to be, if there's going to be a tight end taken in the first round, Sadiq looks the most likely. And one of the rare ones that had remaining eligibility at Oregon that went pro, but while some are higher on Sadiq than others, most seem to think he'll go in round 1. And as Daniel Jeremiah notes here in his mock, could go much higher. And I encourage you, please go to these actual sites and read them and just react to them. You're live on stream. And again, you can find all this over on DraftKing.com, 2026 NFL mock draft database. Go to LouPickney.com, it's there. MockDraftNFL.com, it's there. My goal is to make myself impossible to ignore. for people in this particular niche. Niche. 28, Houston Texans. Monroe Freeling. Yeah, there's a lot of talk, a lot of thought that the Texans would go offensive line here late first. The Rams, speaking of offensive line, Blake Miller. I've not seen as much lately as far as talk of Blake Miller as a first rounder, so the fact that Daniel Jeremiah's got him here at number 29 to the Rams is interesting. At 30, Peter Woods, bit of a fade here for Woods. That's where I'm starting to feel that okay. Indicators that, if nothing else, Woods will have to just prove himself in some of these workouts, that he really is as quick as they say he is. Guys with his size and that kind of quickness. Now, there'd be a question like, okay, is he durable enough against the run? Yes, pass rushing, elite pass rushing is important. But you can't be a run liability either as an interior defensive lineman. That's part of the challenge. When you think about it, Clemson, they tried to turn him into an edge rusher, made him lose weight. Anyway, but again, sliding would still mean first round, but maybe nice pickup for the Broncos at 30. 31, Caleb Lomu. He's young, he's sophomore, redshirt sophomore. And of course, these spots depend on how the Super Bowl plays out. Seattle at 32, and you've seen this if you watched any of my stuff here on NashvilleLou Live, or what I put on YouTube, Mock Draft NFL. Anyway, Brandon Cisse, he's going to impress people. He's going to have a really fast 40 if he goes first round. If he doesn't, there's a problem. But he's one of those guys that he's going to go out there and just blazing speed. He's going to impress people. So that's my reaction to Daniel Jeremiah's new 2026 NFL Mock Draft and the DraftKings 2026 NFL Mock Draft database. Last updated UTC January 28th. Although it's sticking it closer to midnight Eastern. All right, I didn't mean to click there. I wanted to go with this, close that out since we already looked at it. All right, so we went through my mock draft, and that took some time, but give my thoughts on it. To the other Lou Scattaglia, is with NFL Spin Zone, then Daniel Jeremiah from NFL.com. Now let's see what Richard Janvrin has from Fantasy Pros. It's NashvilleLou Live. All right, so Mendoza at 1. I mean, there's your free parking. if that doesn't happen, again, that's going to be just something would have to be very askew. But the Raiders aren't allowed to actually say it. Like, that's one of the things. They don't talk about it publicly too much, but the team with the number 1 pick is not allowed to say what they're going to take. Because they want people to have some drama for the TV broadcast. They move that thing to prime time. It's part of it. Although, I mean, that event has thrived. Thinking about how it was when I went to New York City and Radio City Music Hall in 2012. Now you've got these outdoor events like we had in Nashville in 2019. I mean, Pittsburgh this year. Talking hundreds of thousands of people. A big tourist event. It's really something. All right, so again, we're going through the latest mock draft from Richard Janvrin from Fantasy Pros. Mendoza at 1, Reese 2. Now we'll go with 3. Again, Bain 4 to the time. I love that idea. I think 3 down defensive edge rusher. Bulldog tenacity. Tyson at 5 to the Giants. I've seen quite a bit of the Giants with a wide receiver. Maybe. I think you got Malik Neighbors. You can get a good receiver in the second round in this draft, I think. But we'll see. I mean, Tyson, playmaker. And here, Carnell Tate. So again, some say Tyson and Tate, top 6. Some say, well, more like late teens, early 20s even. All right, 7, David Bailey. So I think you see a lot as far as if the Titans take Bain, then maybe Bailey goes to the Commanders or vice versa. So that's what happens here with Bailey. Edge rusher, Texas Tech, going to the Commanders. It's NashvilleLou Live, looking at the Mock Draft 2026 NFL Draft Database, Mock Draft Database, and reacting to Richard Janvrin's latest mock from Fantasy Pros. We've got 11 players in for Twitchy Tides. We'll have that coming up. I'm not sure how long we'll go with the broadcast. We'll go at least, I've got several more I want to get through here. This is my first time getting to talk about some of these mocks. Some people are like, with Daniel Jeremiah, it's his first one came out. I know some of you are just here for the Twitchy Tides. Whatever your reason, glad to have you here. Of course, for viewers on Blaze, type the word enter, E-N-T-E-R. Blaze.stream/NashvilleLou. Be giving away a Warsaken camo card over there. The Saints number 8, Mekhi Lemon. Now that's interesting. It actually wouldn't surprise me. So again, though, this is with Jordan Tice and Carnell Tate gone. So you'd have 3 receivers going top 8. And again, this is Richard Janbrin's mock for Fantasy Pros and my reaction to it here on NashvilleLou Live. So Lemon to the Saints today. I mean, great playmaker. Love to the Chiefs at 9. And there are mixed opinions on that. I mean, not on Love's ability, but would the Chiefs use that number 9 pick on Love if he's there? Downs to the Bengals at 10. And it's been 10 years since a safety's gone top 10, but Caleb Downs, a uniquely valued prospect as a safety. 11, McCoy to the Dolphins, filling a corner need. There's another one similar to what I have, Sonny Styles, linebacker to the Cowboys at 12. This has Mansour Delane, LSU corner. I've got top 5 going to the Rams at 13. At 14, Spencer Fano slides to the Ravens. Eldrick Falk matches what I have, going to the Bucks at 15. 16, Peter Woods. And as noted here, Quinnen Williams was traded this past season, so that whole not having a single interception thing wasn't just because of the secondary. Get that pressure up front. So I'm reacting to Richard Janbrin's mock draft on Fantasy Pros. Looking at the DraftKings 2026 NFL mock draft database here on NashvilleLou Live. Number 17, TJ Parker, Clemson, edge rusher. There was thought early in this process that Parker could be a top 10 pick. He still could be, but a lot of talented edge in the draft. Here the Lions go with Parker at 17. 18, Vikings, Avion Terrell, fills a need at corner. 19, Caleb Banks. Again, if Banks is able to work out and impress people, whether it's Carolina or somebody, I think he'll, even if he seems to slide on some boards early in this process here in the stretch run, the gauntlet these players got to go through, if they're tough enough. Some of these players, and if you're watching, if any of these players watching, just keep in mind they're testing everything. They'll test you on things they're not telling you, testing you on, your patience. Keep your cool. Be tranquila. Stay confident. Number 20, Casey Concepcion to the Cowboys. Wouldn't that be something? Dallas has those needs on defense, but look, if Concepcion's a receiver they really like, then okay. Now this is interesting. Caden Proctor to the Steelers at 21. And you're going to see Proctor's name all over the place because opinions vary, but you can't, there's no doubting his physical talent. He's healthy and able to go. Then I think he got judged harshly based on what was admittedly a bad game against Florida State. But I thought he turned it around during the season. But it's my opinion on that's one thing, but what matters with the evaluators that actually know these things more than just, oh, I think this. So St. Proctor to the Steelers at 21. Interesting. Another one, of course, I love this matchup here. Vega to the Chargers at 22. But again, I try not to hold too high of a connection with any player and team. The further you get from that number 1 spot, the more you got to be willing. It's like mock drafts are like sandcastles. You can't get emotionally connected. You can't get emotionally attached. A new wave's going to come in. You got to just do something else. 23, not quite the perfect analogy, I guess. Cassius Howe. I think this is more along the lines of what Philly might do here as far as edge rusher. I mean, okay, if Mekhi Lemon is here, maybe that changes the thought process a bit, like what I think. At least my latest mock. But here, this is Hal going to the Eagles at 23. And we're going through, this is my reaction to Richard Janvrin's mock draft from Fantasy Pros here on NashvilleLou Live. He's got Hal to the Eagles at 23. Caleb Lomu to the Browns at 24. If they don't get an offensive lineman at 6, you really think the Browns have to give a strong look here at 24, depending, at least if there's not just a huge run on him prior to the spot. 25, the Bears, Cade McDonald. There's 9.5 tackles for loss. Be tough for him to slide too far. 26, another one for Denzel Boston. Washington to the Buffalo Bills. People are going to slip up and say Denzel Washington. They're going to get confused with the names. But call him what you will. He's 6'4". Got the size. Here's Akeem Mesidor going to the 49ers at 27. And Mesidor turns 25 years old in April, but he's not like a young talent to be developed. And so if he does not go in that maybe top 20, top 25 range, these teams that are on the cusp, running it back, get that window, a guy like Mesidor might be able to provide more right away than perhaps some younger players that could be considered. At 28, Texans, Christian Miller, defensive tackle, Georgia. This has Ty Simpson to the Rams at 29. I mean, if Simpson does end up sliding, this could be a stopper. How long is Matthew Stafford going to be able to? I mean, it's not like he had a bad season by any means. It's heartbreaker for the Rams. Something to keep an eye on, though. So Simpson to the Rams at 29. At 30, Denver Broncos, Kenyon Sadiq. If Sadiq is there, man. Nice weapon for Bo Nix. Patriots and Seahawks, of course, it depends on the outcome of the Super Bowl, but Monroe Freeling, offensive tackle. Georgia, the Patriots, and then Jennings Dunker, offensive lineman, Iowa to Seattle. So there's one for Seattle going offensive lineman at 32. Again, that's the mock draft from Richard Janvrin of Fantasy Pros here on NashvilleLou Live. Reviewers on Blaze. Type the word enter in chat over on Blaze. Blaze.stream/NashvilleLou. And for viewers on Twitch, of course, you're earning Nash Cash just for watching me when I'm live here on Twitch. Got 12 players in, so we will have that next Twitchy Tides game coming up. The other side of my hourly break coming up. We're not to it just yet, though. But for viewers on Twitch, you've got me tip all 5. How many people we got in the mix here? There's what Twitch tells you have, and then there's what this tells you. ScurryBot says 41 users. And while I'm emphasizing Blaze-a-thon's going on. Of course, my large audience, comparatively, is on Twitch. All right. So we went through my mock draft, had my reactions to Lou Scataglia's draft with NFL Spin Zone, Daniel Jeremiah's. And that was a really much an attention getter when it dropped yesterday. And these power outages we had yesterday in the Nashville area, my place, I had to wait until today to get on here with the reaction. And we just had my reaction to Richard Janvrin's mock draft with Fantasy Pros. Let's see what Blake Brockermeyer has with CBS Sports. And I urge you, go to DraftKing.com. It's not like you have to go through a 5-step process. You click on it, boom, it takes you right there. See here, like what Blake wrote about LA playing for life after Stafford. I think if you do see some mocks that have Ty Simpson fall into 29, although they've got 2 picks, so maybe if you feel highly enough to use a first rounder on him, do you risk Simpson slide to 29 or hoping that happens? Simply don't know. So Mendoza, the Vega, I mean, skip past this. Give me the same. Easy for that first one. Don't botch that. Arvell Reese, the Jets. I think a lot of this does end up being perceived best overall player, plus a much-needed addition to a defense like the Jets that have to be able to force some pressure off the edge. But it's hardly a lock. I think the Jets they're going to have, even if they weren't thinking about taking Dante Moore, they don't have that as an option. So Arvell Reese to the Jets at 2. Francis Malgoa. I think if they don't take Fano, if they go offensive tackle, remember, Kyler Murray's not expected to be back in Arizona next season. And as I understand, I've seen some that have projected trades. I say, if there's a projected trade, I need you to project the actual salary cap implications, because I've been told it's not possible. But maybe that's not my strong suit, crunching numbers on salary caps. But people that I do trust on that have told me they don't think it's possible. So there's also the issue with Arizona needing a quarterback if they don't have Kyler Murray, but who's it going to be? Do you get Malik Willis? Who are they giving? There's all sorts of possibilities. So Mauigoa to play right tackle, which is really what they're going to need. Got Paris Johnson Jr. on the left side. At 4, Reuben Bain Jr. of the Titans. You know I love that combination for the Titans. I mean, I do this as an objective prognosticator, but I do love the Titans. So, again, if they don't get David Bailey there, then Reuben Bain Jr., nice pickup. This is my reaction to Blake Brockermeyer's latest mock on CBS Sports. Number 5, Spencer Fano. It's interesting, Giants going offensive tackle at 5. It could happen. 6, Carnell Tate, the Cleveland Browns. And that's maybe if Fano and Mauigoa are gone, then all right. Plan B, we'll take a receiver here and see if we get at 24. If they go offensive tackle at 24. At 7, again, you're seeing a lot of this. If it's not Bain at 4, it's Bailey. If it's not Bailey at 7, it's Bain. At least the way that it's lining up on a lot of boards now. Very early in the process. Don't take this stuff as gospel here. Whole evaluation process to go through. But you look at these players, and there's a lot of talent at edge rush, or there's certainly need there. Titans at 4, the Washington Commanders at 7. I'm reacting to Blake Brockermeyer's latest mock draft on CBS Sports. You can link to it and read all this yourself. Peruse it. Find those links in the mock draft database. DraftKing.com. It's the first link at the top. Also on mockdraftnfl.com, the presenter of this broadcast, where my mock draft is. Number 8, Jordan Tyson into the Saints. That would be fun to see for Saints fans, wouldn't it? Some have Tyson falling a bit, sliding out of this range. When he's healthy, dynamic. At 9, Keldrick Falk to the Chiefs. And it's a distinct possibility, even if they can't get Bain or Bailey. Still go with Falk there at 9. That's the range you would think for Falk, maybe a little bit higher, but he should be in the mix. 285, he's got the size. Brockermeyer with Falk going at 9 to the Kansas City Chiefs. Caleb Downs, Bengals at 10. At 11, Mansour Delane to the Dolphins. A lot of these match reasonable expectations. Jeremiah Love, in this case, on the board at 12 for Dallas. Dallas has a number of needs, but they have 2 first-round picks, and Love is quite the playmaker. There we go, 13. This is where I think if the Rams are willing to take Ty Simpson at number 29, if they really are willing to do that, would you pass on him at 13? If you really feel strongly enough about Ty Simpson as a first-round quarterback, of course, it depends on who's there, right? Easy to say, oh, yeah, we take, and then, oh, wait, so-and-so fell? Like if Love didn't go at 12 and they decide they want a running back for some reason? There are better examples. Like, let's say Delane's still on the board, and unexpectedly so, then maybe the Rams don't go Simpson there. But I don't know. If you're willing to use a first-round pick on a quarterback, passing him up. We'll see. With Simpson, now it's interesting with Simpson because he has the dreaded fewer than 20 starts as a college quarterback at Alabama. But he grew up in the business. His father is a football coach at University of Tennessee, Martin, Tennessee. Shout out to my Father Ryan High School class of 95, fellow alum, Joe Crumby. Crumby played basketball, UT Martin back in the 90s, back in my day. Anyway, Ty Simpson doesn't have the number of starts you would normally want to have if you could use a first-round pick on a quarterback, but he's been around the sport his entire life. And I think that has to be taken into consideration as well. I mean, like last season, 30 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Played through some injury late in the season that kind of... So we'll see. We'll see with Simpson. It's interesting. I think he can go somewhere and be a starter relatively quickly, possibly, but some don't see it that way. Ideally for him, you get a chance to kind of ramp up to it. But you'd always get a choice with that sort of thing when it comes to the NFL draft. So I'm reacting here, going through the latest mock drafts in DraftKings 2026 NFL mock draft database. DraftKing.com is the first link up there. If you want to read these for yourself, see what I'm hyping up. Show you're watching right now. The reaction show. Let's went through some of these with reactions. Going through right now with Blake Brockermeyer of CBS Sports in his latest mock draft. He's got Caden McDonald. I like the idea of Baltimore taking a defensive tackle at 14. It could be McDonald at 15. Cassius Howell. So if Sonny Styles is off the board before 15, I can see Tampa going with an edge. But Tampa Bay Bucks with Cassius Howell. 16, Caleb Lomu, offensive tackle. This would be somewhat high compared to some ranges I've seen, but Lomu, he's young. He can develop long-term. At 7, this is high, I think, compared to what I've seen. Not that it's wrong, it's just, this is an indication. All right. These are all things I take into account. So this has Monroe Freeling, Georgia offensive tackle, going to the Lions at number 17. So I'm going through the latest mock draft from Blake Brockermeyer of CBS Sports. This is my reaction to it here. Lou Pickney, mockdraftnfl.com. You're on NashvilleLou Live. Blaze-a-thon going on blaze.stream/NashvilleLou. Live as well on Twitch and on Kick. All right, so Freeling at 17 to the Lions. 18, Tremont McCoy. If he's there, if he's healthy, nice pickup for the Vikings in a need position. Mekhi Lemon, Carolina at 19. And Lemon's going to go first round the way it looks at this point. This has Sonny Styles. Okay, so Sonny Styles still on the board here in Dallas, getting him at 20. Linebacker is what his listing is, but kind of linebacker safety hybrid. There's Caden Proctor going to the Steelers. So this has Steelers offensive tackle. 6'7", 366. Again, you don't see many guys with that size and athleticism, which makes him really interesting. Because not only is not even if he doesn't play tackle, he's athletic enough to play guard with that size. Depends on where he goes and what that team needs. 22. Yeah, I love this one. Vega going to the Chargers at 22. I think that matchup, the way it is now, and mock drafts will change when things happen with free agency and team needs change. But the way it looks now, Vega to the Chargers at 22. I like that. So I'm reacting here live on stream to the latest mock draft from Blake Brockermeyer of CBS Sports here on NashvilleLou Live. Already 8 people in for the next Twitchy Tides game. For viewers on Twitch, type !play, P-L-A-Y, in chat. 9 players in. Well, they're coming up later in the hour. And of course, for viewers on Blaze, the new streaming platform, I encourage everybody, blaze.stream, set up an account. It's free. It's a new thing. The people there are doing things the way that I think they should be done. And very careful as far as trying to keep bots out as far as bad behavior goes. All right, so going through this mock draft at number 23. Now, this interests me with Zachariah Branch, because Branch start to track like maybe a late first. He's a slot receiver, so it'd be a team that needs the slots, and that could work for the Eagles. And while I have Mekhi Lemon going to the Eagles in my mock, maybe it's not realistic that he really falls that far. The way it worked out. The way it's worked out the last couple times with that. But again, it's January. Mock's not till April. We'll get there, but this is all subject to change. Just looking at how things are being perceived at this point. So I'm going through the latest mock draft from Blake Brockermeyer of CBS Sports. My live reaction to it here on NashvilleLou Live. 24, here's another one. Lee Hunter, defensive tackle, Texas Tech. Going to Cleveland at 24 is interesting. 25, Zion Young, edge rusher from Missouri. You'll notice a lot of different picks with the Bears. Because much like me, other analysts are looking like, well, they can do a lot of different things. It's hard to tell. They've got a lot of the parts and pieces in place. Maybe an edge rusher is what they need with Zion Young at 25. At 26, here's Casey Concepcion to the Bills. It makes sense to me. No argument here. 27, this is Peter Woods. Another one with Peter Woods starting to perhaps fall from consideration as top 10, top 15 even. Here going 27 overall to the 49ers. 28, Kenyon Sadiq. Houston. What a pickup that'd be for Houston, huh? I hadn't really thought about that. That actually would be interesting. 29, Brandon Cisse going to the Rams. I mean, Cisse is going to impress people with his workouts. I mean, if he doesn't, then he won't be a first-round pick in all likelihood. He's got what the expectations are. I think, okay, where are you trying to expect people are going to be the risers? Where are they going to come from? Well, if they impress in the workouts the way people think they will, they can move up even higher. But this has Cisse at 29. This has Denzel Boston still on the board at 30 going to Denver. Broncos will be coming back fierce next season. 31, Akeem Mesidor. And he'll be 25 years old by the time the draft happens. I mentioned that because it's unusual. You don't normally have 20. I mean, I think somebody at 25 was a quarterback on the 7-year plan. But Mesidor is just a unique situation. He's 20. We'll be 25. But for a team that needs him for the short term, for like, okay, we're knocking on the door and the Patriots playing in the Super Bowl. If they'd have put 31 and Mesidor's there, I mean, here's your window. You got it right now. Speaking of windows, Seattle Seahawks. And this has Emmanuel Pregnon still on the board. I don't know. It's interesting, the Seahawks. I was thinking last year, Gray Zabel. You could tell who was paying attention late and who believed the rumor, like me, that it leaked out from Seattle. Gray Zabel. Now, again, do you believe that? Who do you believe? That's what it comes down to. All right, so that was my reaction right there to the latest mock draft from Blake Brockermeyer, CBS Sports. It's NashvilleLou Live. And you go to DraftKing.com. On that site since 2003. And my official mock draft, MockDraftNFL.com. Again, I can't be from DraftKing.com or they just ignore me. I have to be from my new site, MockDraftNFL.com. But I can put everything else on DraftKing that I want to. I mean, I've got total editorial control. It's really something. I think there's a certain level of great power, great responsibility. If I give people bad information, that reflects poorly on my topical authority. Plus, I don't mislead my readers or misread my leaders. Here we go. The slap happy part kicks in. All right, so let's see. I'm going to go through a few more here. Nicholas Rome, Saturday Blitz. We've looked at Nicholas's work before. Let's get an update. So that's before I was starting to reference Fernando Mendoza. So I was going through before the giant photo. I mean, what a season. What a season for Mendoza. He had that great run at Cal. Goes to Indiana. Hoosiers run the table. He wins the Heisman. He wins the national championship. And Fernando Mendoza, I mean, he's got to go at number 1. At 2, Arvell Reese. That's what I have. A lot of people have that. But still, a lot of it's speculative. Jets have got to do a lot of evaluating, not only for 2, but at 16. We'll get to that in a minute here. So going through the latest mock draft on Saturday Blitz from Nicholas Rome. It's my live reaction to it here on NashvilleLou Live. And again, I encourage everybody, go to those links. Or go to the database, the DraftKing.com mock draft database. It's not hard to find. I've been very loud about his work. So I'm going now through Nicholas Rome, Saturday Blitz, part of Fansided. So Reese at 2, Bain, this is interesting, Bain to the Cardinals at 3. So this would be the Titans without Bain in the mix, but possibly able to get David Bailey. But instead, they've got, Rome's got Carnell Tate going to the Titans at 4. And I think it's a viable possibility. I don't know about number 4 overall, if that's really going to happen with Tate. I don't expect him to have a blistering 40 because that's not his style. I mean, he's fast. Everybody has to be fast here, but he's not a track guy. He gets open somehow remarkably well in 3 seconds and then has 0 drops on the season. That would be nice for Cam to have that as an option for the Titans, and maybe that's what they'll do. At 5, Caleb Downs to the Giants. Downs would be the first safety taken in the top 5 since Eric Berry 16 years ago. It could happen. I mean, Downs is a unique player, special. At 6, Mauigoa going to the Browns. But going through the latest mock draft from Nicholas Rome of Saturday Blitz here on NashvilleLou Live. My reaction to it here live on stream. We're going to get 11 players in for Twitchy Tide, so we'll have that for sure coming up later in the hour. Viewers on Twitch, you can get in with !play in chat. And of course, viewers on Blaze. I've had a Twitch account going back to like 2009. Although I didn't do much with it for a long time. Blaze is brand new. So we got, right now, 4 people with my name on there. Easy chance to get on there and win a Warsake and camo card. We'll give that away at the end of the broadcast. We're spinning the wheel. Shout out to Dan Asker. Dan has done a tremendous job with ScurvyBot, getting it where it's synced up with Blaze. So live on Blaze, live as well on Twitch, and on Kick. Worldwide, it's NashvilleLou Live. Right now, reacting live to the latest mock draft from Nicholas Rome, Saturday Blitz. Rome at number 8 has Keldrick Falk, edge rusher from Auburn, going to the Saints. Saints have a few options there at 8. At 9, Peter Woods. Now this, talking about how some have Peter Woods maybe lower. This has Peter Woods going at number 9 overall. Question, how long is Chris Jones going to be able to go? On the other side of 30. I mean, Jones has had a fantastic career, but much like they're kind of seeing the end of the road there with tight end Travis Kelce, at some point, you got to plan for the future. But again, some have faded Woods a bit. He's super quick, though. We'll see. This has Kansas City with Peter Woods going at number 9. This from Nicholas Rome of Saturday Blitz here on NashvilleLou Live at 10. Sonny Styles, Bengals. Well, I got away from that one before. A lot of people still had that linked up. Bengals taking Styles at 10. Or should I take that back? I switched a few things around. This has Styles at 10 to the Bengals. At 11, Ty Simpson. So again, the consideration for Miami, you have to remember that they are financially still stuck in a really tight spot because of the contract. That rolling guarantee setup with Tua Tagovailoa. And because of that, you can't go out and spend big money. They can't go out there and try and spend their way to getting Kyler Murray if they were to believe he was the right option. Actually, I do have Caleb Downs still at number 10. I had switched him out when I was going through before. And you see enough names and enough things fly by the screen. You put one of these mock drafts together. It's tough to remember where it ended up. Anyway, so this has, that was me talking about Downs, though. This has Sonny Styles going top 10. I'm throwing off here my Ohio State players all over the place here. Sonny Styles at 10 to the Bengals. So Styles is able to slide out of the top 10, top 9. Maybe to the Bengals at 10, maybe. But this would have Downs off the board. Number 11, again, I was talking about Ty Simpson. If they were to bring him in, they're going to expect him to be able to do something right away, you would figure. Maybe he can if that plays out that way. I don't know. I mean, the Dolphins have such needs at corner. Speaking of corner, number 12, Dallas, thank you very much. We'll take Mansour Delane at 12. At 13, the Rams go with Mekhi Lemon. I can see that. I could really see that. The Rams, of course, have that other pick later, down at number 29. Ravens at 14. This mock draft from Nicholas Rome of Saturday Blitz. Jermod McCoy. Yeah, he didn't play it all last season, but in 2024, a tremendous season with the Vols. And he'll have had more than a full year to recover from his torn ACL that cost him the entirety of his 2025 season. At 15, the Bucks, Kenyon Sadiq. The Bucks don't go with defense. That would seem to be a possibility. Sadiq's there. 16, this has Jordan Tyson slide a bit. Jets fans, you think, would like that, getting Tyson at 16. 17, Lions, Spencer Fano. Considering I've got Fano at number 3 overall in mine, this again reflects that the offensive tackle order is not set in stone by any means. Opinions are going to vary considerably. There's not a number 1, this is our top prospect kind of guy. Like Caleb Downs, you can say that about him at safety. Jeremiah Love, you can say that about him at running back. You can't really say that about any particular one offensive tackle prospect. And yet there's several talented ones that are going to go on night 1. 18, Jeremiah Love. There's one saying Love sliding a bit compared to top 10, but just because of the demand for the position in the modern NFL. But Love he would feel that could be a useful pickup there for the Vikings. If you don't go corner, instead you get Jeremiah Love at 18. This is my reaction to the latest mock draft from Nicholas Rome of Saturday Blitz here on NashvilleLou Live. So Caleb Lomu going at 19. You've got Fano lasting until 17, and then former Utah teammate Lomu at 19 to Carolina. At 20, Cowboys, Anthony Hill Jr. A lot of talk about Hill as going to the second half of first round. This might be a little bit higher than some have it, but okay. It seems possible. I mean, it's just the question is how much value would a given team put on an off-ball linebacker? The question is, would they try and see Hill as a potential pass rusher more than just playing off-ball? That's the evaluation process. And you find that guy that can fit in your offense or defense or whatever, fit in your team in ways other players simply can't. Now, this is interesting at 21. Pittsburgh Steelers, Trinidad Chambliss, Ole Miss quarterback. Now, the NCAA turned down his waiver request. He was trying to get an extra year of eligibility. He didn't play at all in 2022, and I know his old school, his Division II school, there's a question of was it because they just weren't going to play him or because he had chronic tonsillitis. If you believe Chambliss' side, they have more than 90 pages of documentation saying that he had this chronic tonsillitis. The NCAA said, well, you got to Ole Miss and you told the doctor there you're fine. But if you ever dealt with tonsillitis, and I had my tonsils removed as a young child, it's not fun. But it comes and goes. So if somebody's feeling okay now, it doesn't mean that they weren't plagued with it before. So I don't know, because it'll take a court order. It's going to be in federal court in the state of Mississippi. And we'll see. This is Chambliss. And the things have changed so much. They used to fight to get out, to get in the NFL draft. Now they fight to stay in because the money's there. So Chambliss, if he's there, if he's not able to win that appeal, and he's on the board. I mean, what a run he had with Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin leaves. Teams in the playoff. And a tremendous showing. That thriller in the semifinal round. Miami got the victory, but Chambliss impressed. And so that's where it's interesting. At this point, normally you know who's in and who's out. But Chambliss is certainly a wild card. You can't, and who knows what the courts will decide. We've seen that on the basketball with Alabama, I think. Don't presume anything. It's NashvilleLou Live, reacting to the latest mock draft from Nicholas Rome of Saturday Blitz. We've got 11 players in for the next Twitchy Tides game. For viewers on Twitch, you can get in by typing !play in chat. And for viewers on Blaze, type the word enter, E-N-T-E-R. A new platform. I encourage everybody, set up an account over on Blaze. It's free. Great people in the Blaze Discord as well. All right, so looking back at this latest mock draft from Nicholas Rome of Saturday Blitz, who has Vega going to the Chargers at 22. You know I love that matchup. Mesidor to the Eagles at 23. Now, wouldn't that be interesting? I like that one. I don't know if Mesidor gets past Dallas, but if Dallas gets an edge rusher at 12 that maybe slides out of the top 10, then maybe they don't go with Mesidor at 20. Maybe that's where you go linebacker, Hill or Styles or whomever. And if Mesidor's there, Eagles with a stacked team considering they've got several needs. Mesidor's, he's legit. Browns take Denzel Boston. You see a lot of the Browns. If you don't see it at 6, you see it at 24. Get a receiver. 25, the Bears. TJ. Again, Bears are all over the place, the predictions. It's hard to get a read on them. Broad brushstrokes. Another Casey Concepcion to the Bills. We're going through the latest mock draft from Nicholas Rome of Saturday Blitz. Going through the DraftKings 2026 NFL mock draft database. My mock draft's there at number 1. Went through that earlier. And then I put the spot for Jason Bohr so people know to look for that on the day of the draft. He posts one per year over the Times News Online. I linked to his X account. I don't know what they're going to... Times News Online doesn't have a section for him, so... Anyway, if you use the former Twitter, X, just keep that in mind. I plan to react to his stream, to his mock draft, the day of the draft, when that comes out. And there's going to be a lot going on that day, but it'll be worth it, because it's a big mystery. He's one of the top guys, but he doesn't show his cards until after the deadline for the Huddle Report. He knew last year about Gray Zabel, just like I did. A lot of people. Really, certainly. But the question always with that, easy in hindsight, yes, I got that one right, but if that didn't happen, and sometimes you can be right about your information, but there's the caveat of well, if that one player drops, then that's different. Then maybe you don't hear that part of it, and that player drops, and then you never know for sure if you got bad info, or because sometimes you might have a team locked on with a guy, but they really like him for day 2. And you sometimes see that with evaluations. Part of the whole process trying to figure it out. So 11 players are in for Twitchy Tides. We'll have that coming up later in the hour. Other side of my hourly break here on NashvilleLou Live. Live on Blaze. Blaze-a-thon's going on. Blaze.stream/NashvilleLou. So now let's take a look at what do we have here? Okay, there's the Saturday Blitz. We already looked at that. Just finished that. Oh, come on. There we go. Let's hear now from Ethan Woodie of NFL Trade Rumors. There's a lot going on right now. It's really tough to keep track. The Shrine Bowl and its activities. Now, Senior Bowl week. I imagine after this broadcast, there'll be a lot of notes from today that I'll have to catch up on. So, a lot of this stuff's subject to change, but it's interesting to see where it is right now. I get my reaction to some of these mock drafts. So this is from Ethan Woodie of NFL Trade Rumors. We're on NashvilleLou Live. I'm Lou Pickney. Been in the mock draft biz since 2003, kid. Here we go. Mendoza, the Raiders at 1, of course. Ruben Bain Jr. to the Jets. I'm a big fan of Bain. Well, there's a lot of talk of Arvell Reese. There's also talk of Ruben Bain Jr. Jets need to improve that defense. Bain would have tenacious. A 3-down defensive end edge rusher that also tenacious against the run. At number 3, this has the Cardinals getting Arvell Reese. If he's there, the Cardinals are going to have a few needs, but that makes sense to me if they can get him there at 3. 4, Jordan Tyson to the Titans. I think the Titans will consider edge rusher. I know there's been talk of offensive line, although I don't see that as much. It could happen, though. Jordan Tyson, if they go receiver. When he's healthy, he's elite. At 5, the Giants, Carnell Tate. So you see this with some mocks, like 4, 5, 6 range. You see a couple of receivers going earlier, and then some, maybe not as much. But I can only say so many words about Carnell Tate. He catches everything. He gets open in 3 seconds, unlike anybody else in the draft. He's remarkable. But again, he's not going to impress people with his 40 time. That's just not the anticipation, at least. He's fast, but he's not track fast. But in the NFL, getting open in 3 seconds is a valuable commodity. 6, the Browns, again, 6 and 24 as far as the Browns for their pick. So if you go offensive tackle here, Frees you up for some other options down at 24. Number 7. It says the Commanders taking Caleb Downs. Been 10 years since his safety's gone top 10. But Downs has a legitimate chance to do that. So Woody has Downs going to the Commanders at 7. At 8, Jeremiah Love to the Saints. I know some Saints fans aren't exactly enamored with that idea. Some recognize the great potential, will say, well, there are other positions of need. All depends on who's on the board, of course. So the Saints here take Love at 8. At 9, the Chiefs. David Bailey, elite edge rusher. I mean, we're talking about the same names going through here. It's not groupthink as much as these are the people that most of the evaluator sees the top edge rushers, which is a huge need position for every team at all times in the NFL. You got to be able to rush the opposing passer with your front four. If you have to blitz, somebody's going to get open. Number 10. Here's another one, Peter Woods to the Cincinnati Bengals at 10. You know, opinions on Woods really do vary quite a bit. I think he's going to do better than some evaluators are saying as far as where he's going to go pecking order of things, just because it's so quick. But the question, is he strong enough against the run? If you believe he is, then top 10, certainly a viable option. 11, this has the Dolphins getting Mansour Delane. Great pickup for a need position there. At 12, another one that matches my way of thinking with Sonny Styles, linebacker. So Dallas goes linebacker 12. Knowing there will be some edge rushers at 20. I don't know if Styles is going to last at 20 if Dallas passes on here. At least the way it looks. Remember, it's easy to look back later and laugh. Oh, you can't believe you thought that. This is the way it looks now from people that know things. But a lot still has to be considered early on in the process. Number 13, Rams. This has Francis Mauigoa falling to 13. So you do see that with some of these offensive tackle prospects, whether it's Fano or Mauigoa, Proctor, etc. Guys that could go top 10 that maybe yes, maybe no. That has a feel of best player available. So again, I'm going through the latest mock draft from Ethan Woodie, NFL Trade Rumors, NashvilleLou Live. Christian Miller, a lot of thought, including from me, that the Ravens would go with the defensive tackle at 14. And if Woods isn't there, Christian Miller, a possibility. 15, Heldrick Falk, edge rusher. The Bucs will have to consider linebacker here, but if there's an edge rusher they like, that's what I'm thinking as far as Falk goes. That's what I have in mind. So likewise, Woody has Falk going to the Bucs at 15. At 16, Mekhi Lemon to the Jets. And if you're not going to go with a corner, to go with the edge rusher to pair that too. Because again, if you don't see a corner that high, or if the guys you like are gone, well, Mekhi Lemon's not bad as far as a consolation prize goes. So you notice all these mocks, Lemon's not even making it to 23. He's off the board over and over. So while I do think, yes, he could be very nice as a kind of under-the-radar slide and then picked up by the Eagles at 23, is he actually going to slide that far? I don't know. 17, Lions go with Vega. Interior offensive lineman. I would think Vega's the most likely to be an interior offensive line to be drafted. I think Vega will be the first off, the way it looks now. 18, Vikings, if Jermod McCoy's healthy, that's a huge need. I'm repeating myself because these are logical things that are being projected here, these mocks. Remember, I had the best in the world with this mock draft database right here. I mean, I've got these, I'm not just picking random things to put in here. And if anybody's not in there, it hurts their feelings, it's not an intentional slight. I'm sure there's some that I haven't seen yet, I haven't run across. I can only do so much. Anyway, to continue, McCoy at 18, 19. Now this is interesting. Joshua Josephs for the Carolina Panthers. Edge rusher from the Tennessee Vols. So while you see a lot of edge rushers mentioned in the second half of the first round, not just the same name showing up over and over. So Josephs at 19 to the Panthers. At 20, Caleb Banks to the Cowboys. Now that's interesting. Ethan Woodie describes this as an eat your vegetables type of draft for the Cowboys. No dessert for you, pal. 21, Casey Concepcion to the Steelers. Wide receiver, a perceived need at this point for the Steelers. At 22, Caden Proctor to the Chargers. Well, if you can't get Vega, get a 366-pound man that's athletic enough to play guard in the NFL. I can see that. Colton Hood at number 23 to the Eagles. Again, certain teams, we'll see with the Bears here in a second, where it's hard to project. It's all over the place. And that's part of the fun of this. Colton Hood, where Daniel Jeremiah had Colton Hood as a top 12 in his first mock. This has the Eagles getting Hood at 23. This from Ethan Woodie of NFL Trade Rumors. My reaction to it here. NashvilleLou Live. I'm Lou Pickney. Got 12 players in for the next Twitchy Tides game. So for viewers on Twitch, want to get in? Type !play, P-L-A-Y, in chat. You'll be in for that. Viewers on Blaze, the new platform Blaze, type enter, E-N-T-E-R. I know I've got a lot more people that follow me on Twitch compared with Blaze, but Blaze is brand new. Get in early. If you trust my judgment of the NFL draft, trust my judgment when it comes to streaming platforms. Check out Blaze. Also live, of course, on Twitch, as noted, and on Kick. A lot of people sampling on Kick. Checking out DraftKing.com or MockDraftNFL.com. Got some embeds there that maybe they check out 30 seconds of something. That's a... It's a chance for people that might not otherwise sample. Very difficult to grow long-term in a world with so many options. Fragmented. 24, the Browns. So that has the Browns going with the offensive tackle at 6, and then 24 going receiver, Denzel Boston. And these names keep coming up for a reason. And the highly touted ones. Boston fits the bill with that. 25, the Bears, Cade McDonald, if he's there, in the 9.5 tackles for loss last season. In a high-pressure position, considering the talent at linebacker and at safety Ohio State had, having to fill some spots from guys that left the NFL in last year's draft, and McDonald lived up to the expectations. 26. Now this has the Bills going with an edge rusher, Cassius Howell from Texas A&M. And opinions on him do somewhat vary. Some say mid-first, some say maybe second round. You just need one team to believe in you, though. Part of what makes this so challenging. 27. Here's another one saying Heeneman going first round, number 27 to the San Francisco 49ers. Dallas for life, thank you for the follow. Asking the question, with TJ Parker having a good Senior Bowl showing, at least one-on-one drills, I think Dallas takes him at 20. Well, I think that's contingent on what Dallas does at number 12. I think if you can get, because if you take a linebacker, let's say they take Sonny Styles at 12, if he's there. Then at 20, yes, that makes sense. Depends who else is there, of course. But, I mean, look, going into the season, you look back this past summer, there was a lot of talk about TJ Parker as a possible top 10 pick. The talent isn't really the question. It was a tough year for Clemson, to be sure. But that's where the Senior Bowl is very helpful to get those one-on-one drills. I need to go through and read through a lot of that because I've been doing show prep and on the air for nearly 3 hours now. I wasn't sure I was maybe a good hour, but we had a lot to talk about. Not done yet either. We got this from Ethan Woodie of NFL Trade Rumors, and then we'll have one more as well. Let me see. Respond here in chat on Twitch. You could. So let's say if at number 12 they get Sonny Styles. All right, there's linebacker that you can play at safety if you needed to, that hybrid ability. And then at 20, if you don't go with a guy like Mesidor, I mean, there's several different edge. Maybe they'll go with Cassius Howell there. It's hard to know. But I think they'd be in position to. I mean, I haven't heard much about Parker being first half of round 1 for a while, but it won't take long for that momentum to build. If that, they're going to have to go through and look at some of the stuff from the Senior Bowl practices. That's the one event of the year where the practices, to me, are more interesting than the game itself. Because you get those one-on-one matchups. I know a lot of players weren't able to make it or had to cancel, otherwise didn't. But they still have a lot of players that did make it down there. And for them, some of the guys that might have overshadowed them not being there means a chance to stand out. And TJ Parker, I mean, again, he had the goods coming into the season. And you can pressure off the edge. Makes you a valuable commodity in the National Football League. Let's go through the rest of this mock draft. Again, this is through my website, DraftKing.com. Had that since 2003. There's my mock at the top, mockdraftnfl.com. The consultants made me put myself at number 1. That was their idea. All right. So again, going through NFL trade rumors. Ethan Woodie. So after 27, going to Texans, offensive tackle or offensive guard. Really Pregnon from Oregon, play guard. Like I think with the Texans, you could take somebody that's listed as a tackle, like Caden Proctor, and he could play guard for you if you need him to. Very large guard. But here, Pregnon, interior offensive lineman from Oregon. Had a very good season with the Ducks. You're going to Houston at 29. Or 28, 29, Woody has the Rams taking Texas corner Malik Muhammad, which is interesting. I've noticed a lot of variance with these late first-round corners, which is good because that means plenty of players are getting consideration. We're not just getting locked in with the same 5 guys. Because at this point of the year, maybe you've got the 1 or 2 you think are on top, but trying to parse through the rest. That's what this is all about, trying to figure out who really belongs up there. But here, Woody has Muhammad going to the Rams at 29. At 30, Kenyon Sadiq. There's another one saying Sadiq, still on the board at 30 and able to go to the Broncos. I mean, it could be number 9 with the Chiefs for Sadiq, but I think there's been more recent thought that, well, okay, yes, they do need to find a replacement for Travis Kelce long-term, but they also have other needs that might be better met at the number 9 spot. Regardless, however, if Sadiq's there for the Broncos at 30, nice pickup. 31, oh, that's in bold, Anthony Hill Jr., underline, for the Patriots. So Woody has the Patriots taking Hill at 31, and then against the who's the corner going to be for the Seahawks from a lot of these mocks, including mine? Here it's Keith Abney, the second corner from Arizona State that's starting to get more and more mentions. Kind of creeping into that late first range. So a lot of corners in consideration. So again, I urge you to go to DraftKing.com and read these for yourself. There's detailed information. And so we got one more I want to get through, though, from Dalton Wasserman, Pro Football Focus, PFF. Got 13 players in for Twitchy Tides. For viewers on Twitch, you can join by typing !play in chat. Viewers on Blaze, just type the word enter, E-N-T-E-R, in chat. Somebody's going to win a Warsaken camo card into the broadcast. Let's get through what we have here from Dalton Wasserman of PFF. I initially overlooked... Oh, I didn't. That's the right one. Okay. I was thinking of something else I had overlooked before. That's a different spot. This one I didn't overlook. Added it now. So the Raiders, Mendoza, I mean, that's the... Okay, next. Everybody's going to have that. 2, there's another one saying Reuben Bain Jr. to the Jets. At 3, Arvell Reese. I think that makes sense that, okay, if Bain or somebody that's not Reese goes at 2, then it makes it easier for the Cardinals. With Arvell Reese there at 3. This has the Titans taking Bailey at 4, which is what I have. If they don't go with Reuben Bain, and you can't because he's gone at 2, then David Bailey, elite edge rusher from Texas Tech. At 5, here's the Giants going receiver. I don't see that as much, just because you got Malik Neighbors as your number 1 receiver, but you need multiple, of course. And look, if you believe in Jordan Tyson, think that you got him with Neighbors, give that to Jackson Dart, see what you can do with it. So this is what we have at number 5 for the Giants. So I'm going through mock draft from Dalton Wasserman of PFF. You're on NashvilleLou Live. Number 6, Carnell Tate to the Browns. He gets open. 0 drops last season. Again, the Browns aren't going to go offensive tackle. And here this is interesting because they would be passing up offensive tackles altogether. So that's no tackles taken until 9, which is interesting. It could play out that way. I've seen some that kind of shade that way a bit more. Okay. Depends on what these teams want. Commanders taking Downs at number 7. There's another one with Jeremiah Love to the Saints at 8. And finally, offensive tackle goes to the Chiefs with Francis Malagoa. Another one, Peter Woods to the Bengals. Again, I've seen some that have faded Woods down a bit and some that, no, top 10. I really like what PFF has with their going through and evaluating players. And they've got some stuff that's premium as well. But even the stuff people, more casual fans can look at this stuff, and a lot of it is available to view for free. Kind of sample it, see what they have. I can only imagine the emails they get from fans that have opinions. I'm an analyst. I'm just trying to make sense of it all. The evaluators. But PFS legit. Anyway, continuing here with my evaluation, my reaction, evaluating with the evaluations of the mock draft from Dalton Wasserman of PFF. So this has Mansour Delane still on the board, going to the Miami Dolphins at 11. If Delane's there, I can see that happening. What I had, Styles going to the Cowboys at 12. This has Jermod McCoy to the Rams at 13. The corner position filled here for the Rams. Am I missing it? Would Vega be going before Lomu? Yeah, this would be Vega as the second offensive tackle taker, offensive lineman taken. He's a guard. Had a great career at Penn State. Baltimore, if they go interior offensive line at 14, Vega be a nice pickup. There, Hal at 15 to the Bucks. Edge rusher. Makes sense. Mekhi Lemon, there's another one. Lemon to the Jets at 16. And look, I mean, say what you will about the Jets and what they need or as help at corner. They need a lot. But they've got multiple picks here, multiple picks in next year's draft. They can find the pieces and parts they need to get all put together. So Lemon to the Jets at 16. Here's Spencer Fano, lasting number 17. For a guy some people, including me, have as a top 3. Just the way it looks now. This has Lions taking Fano at 17. So reacting to Dalton Wasserman's latest mock on PFF. Dalton Wasserman. Number 18 has Caden McDonald to the Vikings. So the Vikings don't go corner. Perhaps they go defensive tackle. Keldrick Fox slides a bit here, going to the Panthers at 19. At 20, there's Avion Terrell. They go back up to the linebacker, picked at number 12, Sonny Styles. And back at 20, Avion Terrell. So it's defense, but not an edge rusher. And again, with PFF, they've got all sorts of details. It breaks it. It's a remarkable level of detail some of these sites have. At 21, here's one. You'll see a lot of this, including for me. Ty Simpson to the Steelers at 21. If that's the plan, they need to make sure to warm up that fan base because that's going to be in Pittsburgh. Don't want the Steelers fans booing their pick. At 22, here's the Chargers going offensive interior lineman with Emmanuel Pregnon from Oregon. Here's another one, Philly all over the place. Here with Kenyon Sadiq, tight end. You can see that. And so with the Browns going receiver at 6, you come back at 24, and here's Caden Proctor. Again, you would think normally a 6'7", 366-pound man is going to play tackle. But Proctor could play guard. He's that athletic. Really interesting to see how teams will evaluate him, or will be interesting to see it. 25, the Bears. Another thought, interior defensive lineman, Caleb Banks. We mentioned him. If he can work out and impress people, he should go in the first round. This has C.J. Allen going to the Bills at 26. A lot of thought the Bills might go receiver, but a lot of linebackers getting consideration in the second half of the first round. This has Mesidor sliding to 27 to the 49ers. 28, the Texans, offensive lineman. A lot of that being projected at this point. Monroe Freeling from Georgia. And so the Rams back on at 29. Go corner. Keith Abney the second. Here's another with Anthony Hill Jr. getting late first consideration here with Denver at number 30. Then T.J. Parker. Question in chat early about would Parker be there at 20? Well, this says Parker at 31 for New England. So, and then finally, Casey Concepcion, the Seattle at 32. So again, that's the mock draft from Dalton Wasserman at PFF. All these are linked directly on DraftKing.com.